Victor Ambrus, born László Győző Ambrus, the 19th of August 1935, is a British illustrator of history, folktale, and animal story books. He also became known from his appearances on the Channel 4 television archaeology series Time Team, on which he visualized how sites under excavation may have once looked. Ambrus is an associate of the Royal College of Art and a fellow of both the Royal Society of Arts and the Royal Society of Painters, Etchers and Engravers. He was also a patron of the Association of Archaeological Illustrators and Surveyors up until its merger with the Institute for Archaeologists in 2011. Early life and studies. Ambrus was born on 19 August 1935 in Budapest, Hungary. He continued to live in the capital, but spent many childhood holidays in the country, where he learnt to draw horses. As he grew older he became an admirer of the illustrators Mihai Zichy, E. H. Shepard, Joyce Lancaster Brisley, and the large historical paintings which he saw in public galleries. He received his secondary education at the St. Imre Cistercian College, Budapest, 1945 to 1953, before going on to study at the Hungarian Academy of Fine Arts for 3 years, 1953 to 56, where he was given a thorough grounding in drawing, anatomy and printmaking. His 4-year course was interrupted by the unsuccessful 1956 Hungarian Revolution against the Soviet-backed government, during which a building that he and his fellow students held came under fire from the Soviets. In December 1956 he and many other students fled, first to Austria, then to Britain, where he hoped to study in the tradition of illustrators such as E. H. Shepard, John Tenniel and Arthur Rackham. From Blackbush Airport and Crookham Army Camp, speaking no English, Ambrus presented himself at Farnham Art School, and was taken on, not to follow any particular course but to work at his drawing. Ambrus had already concentrated largely on engraving and lithography which, as he says, was an excellent training for line illustration. After 2 terms his tutor and the principal of Farnham School, recognizing that Victor was ready for a higher level of study, commended him to the Royal College of Art in London. Ambrus won a Gulbenkian scholarship to study printmaking and illustration there for 3 years, 1957 to 60. Personal life. At the Royal College Ambrus met his fellow student, Glenys Chapman, whom he married in his final year. His wife also had a career as an illustrator of children's books. Career in art. Ambrus had 1 book published in 1955 before he left Hungary. But in Britain his career as a book illustrator began during his final year at the Royal College, when he was commissioned by the publishers Blackie to illustrate A. C. Jenkins's White Horses and Black Bulls. While at college he took some samples of his work to Mabel George of the Oxford University Press. In his last year of the course, he was commissioned to illustrate a book that was reviewed in the Times Literary Supplement. His first real job on leaving college was to work for an advertising agency. As his freelance work increased after 2 years he went back to Farnham and started teaching at the art school while doing illustration part-time. He lectured from 1963 to 1985 at Farnham, Guildford and Epsom Colleges of Art. He has had a long career working for the Oxford University Press. Like many illustrators, Ambrus started by doing line illustrations for novels. The children's editor at OUP, Mabel George, gave him first Hester Burton's and then K.M. Peyton's novels to illustrate. Both used his talent for drawing horses, and with both he built up a happy working relationship. He has contributed to almost 300 books, Among his credits are illustrating several fairy tale compilations by Ruth Manning Sanders, including The Glass Man and the Golden Bird, Hungarian folk and fairy tales, and Jonathan and the Flying Basket, French folk and fairy tales. He worked as the artist on the television series about archaeology, Time Team, the director and producer of the series, Finding the Story of Britain in Reader's Digest, had decided that Ambrus could illustrate all the subjects they were likely to present, and invited him to take part in a pilot episode of what became Time Team on Channel 4. He has designed 6 sets of historical stamps for the Jersey Post Office and 1 for the Royal Mail. He was one of 7 leading British illustrators whose work was shown in the exhibition, The World of English Picture Books, which toured Japan in 1998. Education: St. Imre Cistercian College, Budapest 1945–53. Hungarian Academy of Fine Arts, Budapest 1953–56. Royal College of Art, Royal Scholar 1957–60. Arca, 1960. Elected Fellow of the Royal Society of Painter-Etchers, R.E. 1973. Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts 1977. FRSA. Elected member of the Pastel Society. P.S. 1993. Vice President of the Pastel Society 1995–98. PPVPS. 2004–2007. Elected the Vice President of the Pastel Society. Hon Fellow, Society of Graphic Fine Art 2010–present. Hon SGFA. He is a Fellow of both the Royal Society of Engravers and the Royal Society of Arts and an Associate of the Royal College of Art, where he earned his degree. Awards: 1965 Kate Greenaway Medal for British Children's Book Illustration. 1975 Kate Greenaway Medal. Ambrus twice received the Kate Greenaway Medal from the British Library Association, recognising the year's best children's book illustration by a British subject. The 1965 medal for The Three Poor Tailors and the 1975 for Mishka and Horses in Battle. All 3 books were both written and illustrated by Ambrus and published by Oxford. He was also a commended runner-up for 3 medals. 1963 for both the Royal Navy by Peter Dawlish and A Time of Trial by Hester Burton. 1964 for Work in General. And 1971 for The Sultan's Bath, written by himself. 1993 Dale Rowney Prize. 1993 World Wildlife Fund Prize, Society of Wildlife Artists. 1996 Royal Academy of Arts, Arts Club Drawing Prize. Works: Writing, Illustration. Books illustrated by Glennis and Victor Ambrus. Books illustrated by Victor Ambrus are written by Hester Burton, Jane Duncan, Helen Griffiths, Elaine Mitchell, K. M. Peyton, Rosemary Sutcliffe. Written by other authors. Citations. Further reading.